ufala gani? Ati mtu anasema like kama venye kuna mtu amesema hapa alikataliwa jushosho yake. Like my grandmother. Kuna mtu ataniambia unajua familia yetu na Wakamba atuendanangi. Kwani mimi ni familia yenu? I am lean, niko na maisha yangu. I know what I want for myself. I know what is good for me. Na kama Waluya wataniumiza, hata niende waniumize, nikuwe na experience yangu peke yangu. Acheni kunipa experience za watu sikuona. Acheni kuniambia ati mababu zetu, kwani mimi niliwakuta. Wangekuwa na kitu ya maana kuniambia, si wangekuwa uhai hadi sasa hivi waniambie wenyewe. Mbona mnaniwekea information ya wahenga mnipasie from one generation to another? That is being slave. Hiyo ni utumwa, na me I will not put myself in it. Another thing I want to tell you millennials and the old generation, the reason as to why the nation is suffering is because of you guys. Nyinyi mngekuwa wajasiri, mngetupigania hadi before mtuzae. But mli move too far, mkatuzaa mkisema usiguze serikali iko na miguu nono, iko na mikono refu, like whatever the nonsense that is. Like you guys mnafaa kama hamna kitu tu ya maana ya kusema mnanyamaza. Juu vitu mnasema hata hazi make sense, zinafanya tunaanza kujiuliza your thinking and your age, they are not aligning. Tunawa disrespect. Sieti kwa sababu hatuna heshima, kwa sababu hatuna heshima ya kuwaste. You guys amjirespect vile mnasema. Mtanichukia but let it be, but mimi nitawaambia ukweli. Ebu guys, kweni friends na Waluya. You know there is this friend of mine alikuwa Mluya, nikaenda matanga kwao. Let me tell you guys, nilishiba. Like nilishiba. I've never attended a good matanga like that one. Mimi nimeishi kuzika watu hadi maneiba, but sijai attend matanga mzuri kama hiyo. Hiyo matanga guys, nilikula mandazi, like ilikuwa tu inaletwa hivi na basin, tunakaa chini, tunakula, tuna focus na food, alafu then tunamon baadaye. Tunakaka tunaletewa, like you guys you're supposed to open your mind, mjue raha iko huku nje kwa watu wenye mnasikia.
Lynn, this right? Is wanyama. Unataka kukidefend tafadhali. Hey. Acha kutaka kukidefend.
Actually ukweli, you know hadi nikaadmire kwenda mazishi mingi. Like mimi siwezi sikia ati my friend ni Mluya kuna mazisho anokea ni hata au
so you prefer ukienda Uluyani, una prefer watu wakufe sana Uluyani uende huko mazishi ati hadi nika prefer kwenda mamazishi.
Si hivyo venye ina sound like ukweli ni kama watu wengi wenye ni tribal wangejua like hawa watu huwa mnaeka uenmity na wao, they are the good people. Yeah? Mimi nilikuwa na ile mentality ya kusikia Wakisii ni warogi and stuff until nikaenda kwa Wakisii nika home na mandizi na sikuwa nimenunua. Like nikajua people are not what we are told. Meet people, know them by yourself. Uwajue wewe mwenyewe ndo ujue kama Wakisii ni wazuri ama ni wabaya. Hata kuambiwa ati Wakikuyu ni wabaya. For example, kuna watu wanasema Gachagua is the leader of tribalism. Let me tell you one thing. Gachagua is not even tribal. Like do you know, for a person to be tribal, angekuwa ana favor tribe yake. Gachagua hakuna kitu amefanyia hiyo Mrima anashindanga akiita. He has done nothing. Ebu angalia kwa watu wa Mrima, tulikuanga na kahawa, ilienda wapi? Tuliota kama kuni, tulipika nayo githeri. For a fact, shamba zetu hazina kahawa anymore. Right? Kuna majani. Nani hajaona watu wa majani wakipigwa tear gas? Na yeye atasimama hapo atasema Mrima ni yangu, Mrima nitafence. Lakini mimi mtu kama Lynn akisema Mrima ni yake, na angalia nini amefanya kwa Mrima, na unani nonsense. Na hiyo ndo kitu inafanya hadi niseme hata Muthoni wa Gashomba is in the same WhatsApp group with those people, hata kama alikuwa anajifanya na
people what they are. Lakini kama alikuwa na support Mrima, hiyo ingekuwa story nyingine. Lakini yeye anasema yeye ni wa Mrima, anafanya watu wengine wa Western waone kama sisi watu wa Mrima ni wabaya, na hata si atusaidii. Hatusaidii, and this is why I insist they go home together. Waende tu wote pamoja. Like that is how we are going to heal this nation. But above all, millennials and the old generation. The reason is to why I insist msini advice is because advices zenu, they are based in the history of the dead, history of people who died long time ago, and you want to put them in my life. Now it is 2024, guys, you have to sit down. Nyinyi millennials na old generation, mjiite mkutano, mfike mapema kabla mjamaliza mkutano. Personal meeting na mfike mapema sana. Muweze kujiuliza, where did you go wrong? Kama ni damu zenu zimemixiwa na maziwa ya nyayo, tafuteni antibiotics zinaweza wahili, mtafute 140 mkunywe na aloe vera. Vitu zitawatengeneza, zita revive brains zenu, muweze kufikiria that mtu akikosea amekosea. Mtu kama Raila hata akisimama president afai kukuwa na kura more than one na ni yake peke yake, kwa sababu huyo ni mtu anasimama kwa damu ya wananchi. Mtu alituongelesha vibaya kwa revolution yetu, huyo ni mtu ambaye ni adui. Hata akikuja na kanzu, huyo ni adui. Lakini utasikia millennial, no, unajua tulisoma na yeye alikuwa leader sijui wa wapi. That is the nonsense we need to eliminate and install wisdom of love and unity. Na that is how our country will grow. So hizi stories za Mluya na Mkamba and whatever, sisi wote nikimalizia mapua zetu zimeangalia chini, and that is where we go by the end of the day. Ukiona mtu mwenye mapua zake zimeangalia juu, then you can be tribal with them. But as long as mapua zangu zina face down na zako zina face down na we inhale mchanga, reason twice before you say a certain person is not good because they are Luyas or whatever. That is madness. And I'm calling every person mwenye anasema, oh, unajua tribalism yeziisha, you are a mad person. Na Mungu awasaidie to revive your brains. Asanteni.
Niko sure watu wengi, maybe 50% of people hapa wameshika mapua zao, angalie kama imeangalia wapi. Yes, zimeangalia chini zote. But that is not the point. Asante sana Lynn, but I also wanted to tell you that at some point nimefeel ni kama, hey, umetuingilia sana millennials. Do you know why? Because the first person mwenye alidiscriminate directly ina table yenye tulikuwa, alikuwa okay, I'll say it, alikuwa Mkikuyu and is born the year 2000. That is a Gen Z. Aliambia beshte yangu bana, ni nini unakaa na Wajaluo, unafanya nini na Wajaluo? Nasha kwenye mapombe yangu bana hayo. Unakumbuka? But that's not the point. Yeah, so this is across the board. It is not a millennial disease peke yake. Waka Gen Z inalingana na upbringing kwenye umetoka. Maybe mtu ako na shosho mwenye bado ako kwa hizo, amekuwa brought up na grandmother mwenye bado wanaamini kwa hizo vitu. Yeah, so I don't think it's a millennial problem. Kama mimi ni millennial na sija discriminate mtu, and a born 2000 alini discriminate, you can only imagine that is a Gen Z. So it's across the board disease. It's not just millennial, Gen Z, Gen X. It's everyone. This is just everyone. It's eating us. Yeah. So ni kama tu corruption. Tribalism inatukula venye corruption inatukula. So it's across the board, Lynn. It's not that ni millennial pekee, ama ni Gen Z pekee, ama ni Gen X, ama ni boomers, ama ni akina nani. Yeah, but again, it's politically instigated. Politicians ni wamefanya to feel ni kama, and you can see sahi, and I can tell you for a fact, and it's good you've spoken the way you've spoken, Lynn, because nilisema tukuja hapa tuambiane ukweli, tukuja hapa kupakana mafuta. And I can tell you for a fact, hizi ukabila inakujanga tu wakati wa siasa ikitaka kuanza and everything. Utapata sasa kuna ukabila nyingi, ndio ukwe divided, ndio mtu wenyu akisimama hivyo kule, huyu ni wetu, he's a thief but he's our own thief, But nyani ni wale, misitu ndio imebadilika at the end of the day. But angalia in other circumstances. Hata Wajaluo na Kikuyu wanasemanga ati ni maadui. Hakuna. Ya united, money, sex, hapo wajiwangi hiyo kabila. You see? Ikifika ni sex na money involved, they don't know tribalism. Takulana left, right and center, watanunuliana hizo enda kwa mama wa kibanda pale, kama ni Mjaluo akuuzie, kama ni Mkikuyu akuuzie, and you don't care. Kama ni biashara mfanye pamoja, ikifika wakati wa politics, mtu wetu. But anyway, Rasji ulikuwa umedrop, then we will go to Smack after Rasji. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you so much.
Very interesting. Lynn has brought very interesting. Anyway, Lynn, I would have wished ungekuwa for those who were advocating for what you felt that was not that much okay, you would have gone very direct to them instead. This is on a lighter note of generalizing the entire. We know as much as for me, I'm 29. I'm going to 29. So when I feel like you have generalized my generation, it's also my responsibility.
So unaongea na sauti ya 49 year old.
For real? Yeah. Nice. Anyway, this is just on a lighter note. I think as much as we are taking stock on the happenings of the country, the tribalism and all that, I think it will also be better for us to encourage each and every generation. Let us not pinpoint and throw blames that this generation did this. There are also shortcomings. It's not like all the Gen Z are very perfect. They are not. They are not perfect. Most of them are not prepared. Yeah, you know, there's a difference between pointing out and being also being prepared for the responsibilities. Yeah, I think we should have a balance on that. Anyway, it's just a reaction on what Nani had said. Now, nilikuwa naangalia hii issue ya Gachagua because I wanted to incorporate the topic tribe and what is happening in the current political atmosphere. As we talk, I've said there's Koano, you got the message yenye nilikuwa nimekuambia ya Jaro Soja. That's very important. I think before my mic started having issues. Kindly confirm kama ulipata huo ujumbe, na kama haujapata huo ujumbe ni urudie. Is my mic still having a problem? Binti?
No. You're okay.
I'm okay. Yeah, Koana, I had said Jaro Soja had put as a Gor Mahia supporter. I don't want Jaro Soja to reduce a Gor Mahia club as a Luo club. It's not a Gor Mahia is a national treasure. It's our club. It's not a Luo club. So when Jaro Soja makes videos saying that ukiguza baba, ukiguza sijui William Ruto, then umetuguza, that's nonsense. And kindly convey these to him. There are people who are supporting Gor Mahia. There are people outside in the mountain. So Jaro Soja kind of mentality, I think it has expired in this nation. And I don't think you personally is you subscribe to such kind of thinking. That was by the way. Now to what is happening, I had said earlier, maybe I would want to bring something that would be uncomfortable to some of us who have been in the movement. I personally feel that William Ruto is misusing some of these institutions to advocate and to advocate for personal political gains. And anatumia hii kadi ya tribe. As we talk, and Lynn has said very well, ati alienda Uluyani, it is that happens. Akakula, akasikia kopoa, those guys are very accommodative. Those are our people. They do that, yeah? They do that. Na wanasemaga ukipea tu Muluya tu chakula kidogo, anatulia. Anatulia tu,
withdraw that statement bwana. Atutuliangi kwa chakula bwana. Hapana. Anasikia bwana. No.
See, maybe I don't better. You see, when Lynn brings it in another way, you guys are comfortable. But when I bring it in another way, and I've said, Luya are my people. My mother comes from there, so I'm proudly saying that what Lynn has said, it's very okay. But we should not allow also William Ruto to use the tribe card, to discard, to separate, and to fight others. Because personally, I feel today's motion against Riggy G, there is no way you can indict or you can impeach a thief. You can impeach a pickpocket and leave a thief. The way Nani has done, the way the good Senator Okiem Tata has said, these guys are both umenelewa. So I was of the opinion, if there is going to be an impeachment against Rigathi Gachagua, then this is an impeachment on the entire presidency. Sasa tusiachilie, I'm talking this bearing in mind the communities that we live in. William Ruto should not make a community like Luo, umenelewa, awambie sasa tumewaleta kwa serikali, umenelewa. And then in the moment of Luo's feeling that now they are being accommodated in government, then it becomes their responsibility to fight somebody like Gachagua. We have agreed here that this entire administration is rogue and needs to go. So kama wanafaa kuenda ni waende wote. See the idea of him, because I'm saying this because I've seen cheerleading, I've seen now people who are so much vocal on this administration impunity and the way it is carrying the business of the day. Sasa all of a sudden They have found a new landing. They have found a new way of praising this administration. Remember, William Ruto does not recognize tribe anaitumia wakati anataka kupata power. But when it comes to looting and doing all these other things, he does not confine himself to the tribe. As we talk today, the Kalenjin that they want to feel they are in government, they are facing very serious problems, very serious. Kwanza wamesota tena ile mbaya sana huko nyumbani. Wamesota. Nobody is feeling. As you talk, there are impeachment motion and proposals going on in Kericho, Eldoret, on their governors. But wanarudiki tu kwa hii tribe card wakati wanafikiri wako cornered. Unaona? So to me, I feel personally it's not a debate. And parliament as it is right now, wakati tulienda tukachukua ile mess na tukatoroka, we indicted these people, and I'm saying this with a lot of respect, because the individual wenye naona hapa online shouting so much on the impeachment of Gachagua, the likes of Dismas, what does Dismas Baraza has to do? And this is a question I'm throwing to KOT, because Dismas is a village man, uko a fellow, a neighbor, aliniambia ni jirani. What does Dismas, the integrity of Dismas does not even allow him to go and discuss other people in that bunge. So to me, at this particular time, I really feel this administration has so many things in their plate that they should be tackling. Instead of going today at today's motions, wakona motion bill, we discuss impeachment, and they discuss the terms, extending the presidential terms. Now, extending the presidential terms, do you want to tell me the Kalenjins, since this is a tribal topic, you want to tell me you want to entertain another 7 years of William Ruto being at the helm of power, doing all these nonsense in Yanafanya? I don't think the Kalenjins are comfortable. So hii tribe haitusaidii. Na mimi siyati nasema Gachagua juu anatoka kwetu, anatoka saidi ya kwetu ati ni mzuri. He is not good. What I'm trying to say, at this particular time, let us desist from either involving ourselves in these their wars. Umenelewa? Mimi I was of the idea ile design hii kitu hata isione the light of the day. We indicted parliament as an institution, na tukasema ilishindwa kufanya kazi, na tukaingia huko tukasema saa hii ina operate tu kwa sababu it was given a lifeline by one Raila Amolo Odinga. Otherwise, in a working democracy, parliament is not, it's supposed to have gone kitambo sana. We took back our powers. So that's why I'm feeling personally it has no moral authority even to sit down and discuss some of these bills. It is a very useless bills coming to the floor of the house. Otherwise, wacha mimi niachie hapo kwa yule mwenye amesema sisi millenniums, na akarudi nyuma kidogo akasema wenye walikunywa maziwa ya Nyayo. I did not drink milk ya maziwa ya Nyayo, and I believe it was a good initiative though, but very respectfully try and attack them individually rather than putting the whole group in one basket and hammering them. Those are my submission, Kowino. Thank you.
So, asante sana Rasji. Thank you very much for coming back on the mic. By the way, you're right. See ageism, ni just tribalism. And even to this day, you'll find people that come on these spaces and they're Gen Z and they'll still say some very silly things and do some very silly things qua ground here. So, yes, KOT, you know I've been Kalesha behind the scenes because I'm not bringing you here to speak to us as a host. Kalesha, hi.
Kowino could not do me a favor. Kowino could not do me a favor. Unless
Kaka, tulia, tumepata mahost mnajiproclaim hapa kama favorites. Let the people decide.
Kowino, relax. Hasa, Lin ameongea hapa vizuri.
Wanyama.
Hawa co-host hata tusumbua. KOT hebu ongea, wanafikiria hapa hivi ati is host. KOT hebu ongea.
Sasa mimi hata mmerudisha moto yangu chini bana. But honestly, Lin venye ameongea na mimi nika resonate venye mimi hukutana na wanyama, Kowino, Binti na you guys, your reasoning is totally different, yeah? And honestly, hiyo maziwa kama ulikunywa na ilikuwa na issue, Mwende mwensure that mmepigwa madawa, hiyo maziwa itoke kwa mwili yenu, because you guys are so much tribal, honestly. Bana, mimi nikiwa campus, acha niwapigie story. Nikiwa campus, pale
Ngoja chaotic. Just wait, just hold on. Please hear me out. Umesema venye unaongeaga na mimi, wanyama, binti na ayo. Unajua you put it in a way. I want you to clarify this. Are you saying sisi ndio tuko tribal ama you are saying the generation? Because I didn't get that part well.
Millennials.
Where? Mini Gen Z. Mini Gen Z.
We bana, msikatize Keoti tena. Nimewaona. Keoti ongea,
story yangu bana.
tena.
Okay, on a serious note guys. On a very serious note now. Sasa mimi nilikuwa campus pale tu. Yeah. And of course unajua ukienda campus kuna vitu nyingi unaenda kufanya. Apart from kusoma na kujua pia the surrounding ya the area unaenda, pia ufai kurudi nyumbani na degree moja. At times nafaa urudi na degree 2 ama kama imeenda sana degree 3. Sasa mimi nilikuwa natafuta degree ya 2 pale. And I met a certain lady from, asaki kuwadanganya, the lady comes from Nyandarua, yeah? Sijui Nyandarua kama ni iko Mlimani. I want you guys to confirm with me. And then, so, you know, I tried to use my bait, yeah? A bait trap. Katumia ulimi yangu mzuri, Kiswahili changu kizuri, yeah? And I tried to ensure that I'm seducing this lady. And of course she accepts my proposal. But then the lady asked me, unatoka wapi by the way kwenu? Nikamwambia natoka Western. Kaniambia wewe ni Mjaluo? Nikasema hapana. Nikasema mimi ni Mluya. And she was like, wow. Unajua niliambiwa Waluya mnafanyanga nini? Waluya kwenu mtu akikufa mnalalanga naye kwa nyumba. Hey. So I was like, aje sasa tunalala aje na mtu? Nikafikiria and I was like, akaniambia mimi the thing mimi naogopa na nyinyi mnalala na mtu mwenye amekufa kwa nyumba, and so me I can't imagine that you've married me alafu umekufa alafu na forciwa kulala na yeye kwa nyumba, because kwetu mtu akikufa kishatolewa pale Nairobi City Mortuary anapelekwa kwa shimo direct. Mimi nikamuuliza lady, sasa how sure are you that nitakufa wa kwanza nikuache ulale na mimi kwa nyumba? Unaona, like I was trying to resonate with her, but akaniambia hapana. Nikasema anyway ni sawa, kama you guys feel like sisi tunalala na watu wamekufa kwa nyumba ni sawa. And then she was like, by the way kuna tribes mimi siwezi oleka nazo. Tribe ya kwanza ni yenu, nyinyi mnalala na watu kwa nyumba wenye wamekufa. Tribe ya pili ni Wakisii. Wakisii ni wachawi. Tribe ya 3 ni Wakamba, na Wakamba kutoka Kitui ni wachawi. So I was like, sasa utaolewa na nani? Kasema bwana, heri tu mimi niolewe na mtu wa kwetu. Nikasema okay ni sawa. But then I came to realize that hizi story sijui yako wapi Real John yanapenda hizi story zenye hazikuangi zinaitwangaje conspiracy theories. And so you find out that tumekuwa tunalelewa in probably our parents walikuwa advised na their grandmothers, their parents, their great grandparents kwamba certain tribes wako na certain cultures, and of course that culture will not favor you. And so hapo ndio ukabila ilianzia, even before tuanze kukupeleka ukabila kwa siasa, yeah? And in our constitution, the constitution ina uphold mambo na tribes, yeah? Tribe kukua, mimi nikisema hapa mimi ni Mluya ama Mkisii, that is not tribalism. Tribalism is how you use your tribe to discriminate others from another tribe ama nini. Wanyama strike uninue mkono because I'm not going to give you this chance to address me kwanza until nimalize. So
ngoja wewe ni speaker bwana.
Naelewa. If you are going to discriminate me because I'm not a host, I'm a co-host, then you are so tribal. So, tribalism, mimi nikikuja hapa nisema Maluya, that's not tribalism. 100%, because we have we have diverse languages in our country, and the official language, the national language kwanza, I think ni Kiswahili. I mean, no, the national language ni Kiswahili, alafu official language ni English. And so these other languages, zenye mimi nikisema mimi ni Mluya, mimi ni Mkisii, mimi ni Mjaluo, those are the languages zenye zinaitwa identify sisi wenyewe. Yeah. When you come to the Luya land, nataka tu mnielewe vizuri. In Luya land we have 18 sub-tribes. Hao watu wanaongea different dialect, lakini kuna wenye tunaelewana. Yeah? Na tujai sema ati kwa sababu mimi ni Mbukusu, sasa Bungoma ni yetu peke yetu, ati siwezi enda kuoa Maragoli ama siwezi enda kuoa Muyesuha. Hapana, tujai kuwa na kitu kama hiyo. Yeah? We've identified ourselves as Luyas, but inside our Luyalism kuna other sub-tribes hapo ndani. Mimi sasa nikiongea na Maragoli hatutaelewana, nikiongea lugha yangu Mudavadi yaongea yake hatutaelewana, but we are Luyas. So I want you guys also to emulate the same. Kenya is a country, and in our country, I'm now taking Kenya as a tribe. Yeah, in this Kenya as a tribe, we have different sub-tribes. Yeah, zenye sijui ni 40 ngapi. Nataka mnielewe vizuri, sitaki mniambie ati nimesema sub-tribes za Kenya ziko 40 ngapi, but I'm taking Kenya as a tribe. And so sisi kama wa Kenya, when we identified ourselves with that zile local dialects zenye tunaelewa, that's exactly not tribalism. Even in Israel, we had 12 tribes of Israel. But those tribes of Israel zilikuwa under a single person. I don't know the house of what, the house of Bible nilisoma kidogo nikiwa form 2 tukisoma St. Luke, yeah. But kulikuwa na zile 12 tribes of Israel, na these tribes hao watu hawakuwa wanagawanya ati wewe unatoka kwa nyumba ya Benjamin, hatufai kuoa mtu kutoka sijui ni nyumba ya nani, ya Jacob ama Esau, I don't know bana. Nataka sijui, I don't understand those things, but nilisoma kidogo, yeah. So tusitake advantage kwamba kuna sijui ni Waluya, Wakisii, Wajaluo, and so when you go there we are going to divide them, kuambia kwamba nyinyi Wakikuyu bana mmekuwa sana kwa hizi viti, si hata muachie Wajaluo, si hata muachie Wakisii. That's not tribalism. Na hiyo ndio inaanza kutugawanya. Unapata sawa watu wa Mrima wanasema acha si tukae huku kwetu. Saizi honestly angalia timeline venye iko, wanasema hebu jaribu kuguza Gachagua. Na sisi wote hapa tunajua Gachagua is a person mwenye ako na integrity issues. Mtu mwenye the government wali freeze pesa kwa account yake 200 million. And then because ameingia hapo he has power, wali unfreeze tena ikarudi kwake. Sasa hizi utaanza kusikia hebu guzeni Gachagua, nilikuwa naona Citizen TV juzi. Hebu guzeni Gachagua, mtashangaa. And now I'm like, where are we headed to as a country? Yeah? Because mimi sasa hivi nikisema wacha tutoe Mudavadi. Yeah? Ama wewe useme wacha tutoe Mudavadi, alafu mimi nianze kusema Mudavadi ni wetu, afai kutolewa unless utoe mtu mwingine pia. That's not tribalism. Na ndio kitu tunataka kukataa sasa hizi, honestly. Yeah? So tuache kusikiza hizo stories za kitambo za mashosho wetu. Mimi sitaki kusema millennial, na mimi najua we are still some in a certain age group, yeah. Sitaki kuingilia sana, lakini hiyo tabia pia, hiyo maziwa kama ili affect jamani, mwenza muangalie venye mnakuwa injected. Na hiyo injection kama haitawafikia mkuja hapa mimi nitawa inject. Because tribalism ndio inafanya saa hizi sisi nikienda pale campus nikitafuta msichana ajue mimi natoka Bungoma na yeye anatoka Mlimani, hata nikubali. Yeah, msichana akijua yeye anatoka Kiambu na kijana amepatana na yeye anatoka wapi, anatoka Kisii, hata mkubali kwa sababu anajua Wakisii ni wachawi. Na hiyo sio kitu yenye ati iko, ni vitu zenye zimekuwa, ni theories zimekuwa generated kuanzia huko nyuma na watu wa kitambo kabisa. Yeah. So tusilete conspiracy theories in real issues. Mimi honestly mimi siwezi kuwa nakaa hapa without a wife because nilikataliwa ati mimi ni Mkusu ama mimi ni Mluya. Honestly, that one should not be a case. Yeah. Mimi saa hizi nafaa kuwa nikikaa kwa nyumba na amka napata kama ni chai imeiva, na mtu anapika chai anatoka wapi? Anatoka pale Mlimani ama anatoka pale Coast. Ama anatoka pale Kisii. Yeah? Lakini mambo ya marry from your own tribe, tuendelee kutoa hii maneno bana, honestly. Mimi hata penye niko sijai katia Mluya because mimi sina ile tribalism nyingi sana. Najua iko kidogo, tukifika mahali nitaongea kidogo, lakini nataka tuanze kuwa injected amongst ourselves. Tutoe hii issue bana. Hii issue ndio inatu affect sana. Yeah? Inafika time ya siasa, unaanza kusikia tunajua Wajaluo watapigia Raila, tunajua Wajaluo watapigia Raila. Sisi Waluo watapigia nani juu hatuna mtu kwa ballot? Unaona? So hii mambo mimi nitaongea hapa kesho. Wanyama sijakuwa kwa hii timeline. Naomba unipatie dakika zingine 3.
Sio Wanyama anapeana dakika, ndugu yangu. You're asking permission from the wrong place. Just ask the right people. Then we
Okay, Binti, you are the one who gave me this chance. Could you kindly consider giving me 3 minutes?
There is a way Binti and I run the space, so see anakufaa kukupa permission saa hii sasa after amekupea chance. Go ahead, ask again.
Escowino, I would like to request for 3 more minutes.
Keoti, wacha arudie tena. Mwambie arudie tena kidogo. Mwambie arudie tena hiyo statement kidogo.
Acha tuniendelee.
Endelea Mabonga, endelea.
Haya, sawa. And so guys, mimi honestly penye huwa nakaa, mimi nikianza kusikia anything you guys are talking ina inject on matters tribalism, huwa na support it because I'm one of a guy mwenye I don't care the tribe you are coming from. Mimi I don't care. Yeah? Mimi nimeishi na watu wengi kwao. Mimi naweza toka hapa niende sahi Kisii, sijui mahali popote, but nijaribu tu venye naweza nikae hapo because I'll still resonate with them. Mimi naweza enda Ukambani, naweza enda sijui ni Coast, na tukae na watu vizuri. Yeah? Na ikifika ile time ya siasa, mtu mwenye atanifurahisha, mwenye nitaona ideologies zake na agendas zake zinaingiana na venye mimi nataka, that's the person I will vote. Mimi tukiwa Kimilili home 2022 I voted in my home, na nilitravel all along from Mombasa that same day, nikafika home nikavota nikarudi. The person I voted for MCA.
Keoti, that thing on the wall kuna vile unaweza silence.
Ndio maana nimeinua mkono na sipewi chance kwa sababu napewa feedback kwa nini kwa inbox. Mabonga,
lipa token tafadhali.
Naambiwa hii ni space. Kwa hiyo naambiwa hii ni space ya 7, bado watu wanasikia hiyo kelele ya mita.
Msijali nikianza kupata payslip, hizi vitu hazitakuwa hapa bwana. Mniombee sana.
Dada hajafunga nini ya gari belt.
Jamani. Bana nyika mkapa kuniingililia. Mniambie venye naweza finya hii kitu inyamaze bana. Ama niende nizime huko nyuma, lakini ngizima wifi nitatoka kwa space. Sasa wenye wako na hiyo dawa ya kufanya hii kitu inyamaze aniambie. Because imelia sana.
Dawa ni pesa Mabonga.
Endelea ku make your submission as you go to M-Pesa pay bill, kama uko prepay ama post pay ya token, kuna sijui ni 888 blah blah blah, tena hiyo nyingine inaisha na 0. Yeah, that is the way to silence it. Go ahead please brother.
Okay, so if that's the only way to silence it, then I'll do it later on. So guys, hii mambo na tribalism honestly, wacha tutoe kabisa. Na wewe kama wewe ni kijana uko hapa, ama mwacha nitumie lugha sanifu. Kama ni mvulana uko hapa, wewe unatoka huko kwetu Uluyani, tafadhali ningelipenda sana uingie pale Mlimani, utafute msichana, tufanye intermarriages. Ndio any day anytime mimi sasa hizi nikianza kuongea about watu wa Mlima, yeah? Nitakuwa naguzia bibi yangu, at least ataona ana feel mbona unatuingililia bana. So hapo tutakuwa tunatoa tribalism kabisa. So mimi I encourage on this space guys, fanyeni kitu inaitwa intermarriages, wewe kama ni Mkale oana na Mkikuyu, wewe kama ni Mkikuyu oana na Mluya, wewe kama ni Mluya oana na Mjaluo, wewe kama ni Mjaluo bana enda Meru tafuta Meru, yeah, so that in the next 20 years ka tushafanya intermarriages. Jaribu kuongelea watu wa mlimani na mtu wa mlima kwa nyumba yako ndiye anakupikia hapo jikoni. Hata utaogopa, hutaiongea because you feel like this person nikimuingililia, yeah, he can decide whether she can decide whether I live or I don't live. So guys, I encourage intermarriages on this space to end tribalism in Kenya. Back to you, Koine and Wanyama.
Asante sana Mr. Mabonga, asante sana Mr. Mabonga. Again, nilikwambia nimewahi discriminatiwa. Kuna ile nilikataliwa, mtu alisema nyanya yake haizi kubali, and again I want to tell you huyo pia alikuwa millennial. Mnatushambulia sana huyo pia alikuwa Gen Z, sorry. Mnatushambulia sana millennials na kumbe hata nyinyi ndio mko na hizi shida sana. Unajua mimi nilikuwa discriminated na millennials wote. Juu ya nini? Juu mimi ni Mjaluo na nyanya yake haizi kubali Mjaluo. Now you see Mabonga. I agree with you, watu wa intermarry. But again, tukipoint hizi vitu out, there's something I've realized in all our submissions and I want to outline that. Ni kama tukiongelea hii intermarriage na feel ni kama tunasema tu kama wewe ni Mjaluo, kama wewe ni Mluya, fanya intermarriage enda huko Mrima, ama kama wewe ni wa Mrima enda huko Jaluoni. It's like we are just pointing it out to Mrima, Luo, Mrima, Nyanza, Western and that. Enda hata huko Coast bana, ushaikataliwa juu ya wewe uvai nini bana, inaitwa aje? Do you are not of the other religion. Bado hiyo ni tribalism because tribe yao ni maybe Waislamu. My guy, Kyoti, you've not seen it all bana. Yeah, but tunaendelea.
Hakuna tribe inaitwa Waislamu kaka yangu.
No, you are not.
Pale Mumias kuna Muslim pale Mumias kuna Muslim. Hiyo inaitwa nini, sijui ni religion. Yeah, of course religion
najua ni religion pia ni issue, but
nishaitolewa mbio kule Coast kwa sababu mimi ni Mkristian, nimeenda kutafuta msichana mwingine hapa anaitwa Aisha. True story, nitakuja kuwapatia siku nyingine.
Then we have a lot of stories to tell. Wait, Real Joe, Tuesday next week, conspiracy theories morning. We will be there. We will be here. Haya. Tunaendelea. Wanyama, you had your hand up before I go to the next speaker.
No, ilikuwa tu hiyo maneno ya token ya KOT.
Sawa. KOT,
lakini mnatulemea hii ni feedback. Co-host mnatulemea sana sisi as hosts bana kwa hizi spaces. Please, hatuna rights.
Sawa, you can pick two lefts. Two lefts inaweza kuwa right bana. Unajua siku hizi bana hii Kenya bana, but it's okay. Tutawacha kuwalemea. Smack, jambo.
Yeah, niko poa.
Umekuwa patient na sisi sana kakangu bana. Habari ya leo bana. Vipi? Hali gani?
Niko poa. I'm just analyzing what you're talking, you guys, and I'm just see progressive talks, and you're just doing a very, very good work in this civic education, because tribalism is the biggest enemy of this country. And kitu chengine about the coastal people, kuna watu yani tribalism iko kwa damu yao, kwa mishipa. So let's push this agenda. What to say, let's unite as Kenyans. Let's not divide ourselves because of tribes. Nepotism pia, and it's the same. People are just dividing themselves because of some few things, because of wealth. Well, you can unite and change this country for better us and for the better generation. I just have that to talk.
Wanyama. Don't do that. Yes, asante sana Smack. Binti, over to you.
Asante sana Smack. Hey, that accent is nice, but yeah, I love the coastal accent. It's so nice.
Kama yangu.
Why akundi siji.
Hata hizo bana wewe, waleta mambo gani hayo wayaanza dadangu nawe. Usikwe hivyo.
Sawa Koino. Sawa. Ni shokes ama ni shokers ama ni shokes. Hi.
Hello, mnanisikia?
Happy
nimekuwa nikisikiza hii space, it's a very progressive conversation. Hata nimeacha Kenya nilikuwa nafanya, kwanza nisikize what guys are saying here na pia make my contributions. bado niko audible?
Kabisa.
Oh yeah. So I think tribalism first let's anzia na something to identity, you know, self sense of belonging. I think ni very important kukuwa na sense of belonging juu without hiyo hauwezi kuwa human. That's why unapata even the progressive hizi nations ziko well progressed, bado kuna hiyo sense of belonging. That's why hata ukiangalia the venye itoje, I think ilikuwa Yugoslavia venye ili collapse, hizo countries ziko hapo, Russia, Sweden, whatever, zote ni kulikuwa na hiyo sense of belonging yenye inatengeneza a tribe, then mnakuwa na something to relate to. Saa hiyo ndo I think time yenye wazungu walikama hapa Kenya walikuwa I think na experience, wanajua what that can do venye the power about your stuff, so they took it as an opportunity ya to divide na ku make sure hatuwezi progress. Juu ukiangalia venye walituweka into segregation, so wakasema Wakikuyu wakae around Mount Kenya, Wajaluo wakae around ile area Lake region, Wakale the same way. Hadi Wakikuyu wenye walikuwa Rift Valley ulikuwa unapata hawa interact sana na Wakale wa hiyo around. So I think tukiona ni tunafaa ku differentiate tu hiyo sense of belonging na hiyo tribal region. The moment we do that, I think hakutakuwa na hii politicization ya tribalism na kutake advantage. Ukiangalia saizi what Gen Zs what they are when you wanna try to beat about this stuff, na imekuwa I think imekuwa foundation imekuwa has been laid off through I think education though the most. Kuna sense of belonging, I mean not sense of belonging, I think identity yao kuna we have our own identity because of exposure through probably most ni education. Juu hata KOT venye anasema time alienda sijui kampo whatever Mombasa akapatana na different guys, no akarealize kumbe umse si mbaya, or hata kama akiambiwa ni mbaya ana realize ni stuff ali indoctrinatiwa na the older generations. Juu kasi sisi ocha kwetu there is a story imekuwa mimi nimeishi Ocha, nilikam Nairobi juu ya education. So kuna story imekuwa trend huko sana for a very long time that about Wajaluo. I have an auntie who's around 80 years hapo. I think 82. So there's a time alikuwa meenda Uganda around 1970s. Sasa kirudi kutoka UG mpaka Nakuru na train. So kuna story anaishiki kutupigia mpaka wale wanaambiaga wase that wakitoka wakati walifika Kisumu, there's a Luo guy aliingia kwa train, then unaona venye seats za train huko zinakuwa zimeangaliana. So mse alikuja akawaambia kina auntie yangu ati lazima muamke na like hiyo kiburi, so lazima muamke. So akaekelea miguu zake kwa seat there across the other side. So sijui inakuwa like 3 guys. So wase wote akina auntie yangu walisimama from I think Kisumu to Nakuru, na unaona venye train hiyo kuchoka inakuaga. So she was like, na hiyo ilikuwa experience yake. So she was like akitupigia hiyo story anatuambia nyinyi endeleeni mkitaka kuchagua wao wase mtakiona. Mimi nilisimama from Kisumu to Nakuru, nilikuwa nimechoka mpaka miguu zangu mpaka waleo zinaniumaga juu ya kiburi yao wase. So mimi nilikuwa na hiyo believe mpaka I think like around before nikuje Nairobi ungeniambia stories za like mseka Raila bro, I think hiyo hata tungepigana. So wakati nilikuja Nairobi nikapatana na actually my best guys ni Waluo saizi. They are guys from the lakeside. My friends, tukibonga na wao unapata hawa say hata they are not like the stories zenye tunapewa huko Ocha. Say ni wase wako civilized, okay, yeah, kuna some guys wenye wako na those characteristics, but most of them ni wase wako poa. So I think the best thing ni what you are doing, talking about these things, no? Unapata exposure, una realize issue ni stuff tumego tukiekewa inside us, but haiko see our identity. So that's why unakuta Gen Z there juu ya hiyo interaction, juu ulikuwa unakuta ukiwa high school unatumwa high school iko kama wewe ni wa Kisii unatumwa high school iko Nyandarua, kama wewe ni wa Nyeri unatumwa high school iko huko Makueni, so unaweza kuinteract na unapata exposure. I think that's why that's na imekuwa very strategically na our leaders wamekuwa before like the past 20 years hiyo era ya Kibaki. I think wamefanya commendable job juu ya ku try kubiti stuff na kule serious foundations. So our work ni actualize what you are doing now, tuongelee about these things, more exposure. Then I think another thing that inatukula, that's why it may take you advantage of. Okay, look at democracy, like elections. Elections inasema democracy inasema the majority rules. Actually, majority through the ballot, no? Or ndo wana rule. So limeona, I think kuna loophole yenye inatumiwa hapo na the system. I don't know ni the West or pia hapa the common wasi opportunist. So they make sure most of the guys hawaendi kuvote, or most of the guys do not participate in these elections. Jukiangalia, if you look at Gachagua, Ruto, Raila, all these guys need the same coin, different sides. That's why unakuta system ina make sure most of the good guys ni wenye waendi kuvote. Then wase wame place hapo kwa ballot, actually ni the same thing but different sides of the coins. Jukiangalia like last election, the reason why tuko na our leaders ni juu most of the people hawaku vote. Most of the people juu wanasema, statistics inasema around 8 million hawaku vote na 8 million hawaku register. So now ni around 16 million na Ruto aliwin I think na 7 million na Raila around 6 point something, only around 15 million. Na hawa already wenye walivotia Ruto na Raila, they are majority, kuna majority wenye ni optional lack, unaona? So what you are lacking ni system ime compromise a way that we don't have really good leaders. So wase sisi wenye tuko na progressive ideas hapa hivi, tukienda siku ya ballot tunafika pale unaona shit, mi siwezi chagua Raila, siwezi chagua Ruto, siwezi chagua Gachagua, siwezi chagua, you know? Sasa unakuta mseka, do you mean like hiyo area Didmas Baraza there was never a really competent Kenyan mwenye anaweza take over? I don't believe it. Ni system ime make it sure that wase wenye wako hapo wana demotivate the good guys wenye wanataka kuchange everything. Wase wanataka kuchange the direction of the country, tusiweze participate on the democratic through ballot. So I think history of tribalism, ethnicity actually is not really a bad thing. If you look at it, ni opportunists wame take over wakatu amua kutu divide. Na ukiangalia opportunists si wengi actually, they are the minority juu ukilisten na majority they hawayuko into that. Juu ukiangalia the moment you say that when you look at it, ethnicity actually is our strength. Ukiangalia the around to hiyo election violence ya 208, imagine tungekuwa like two sides of the coin, kuna wase wako east side na kuna wase wako east side, I think Kenya inge collapse hiyo time. But ulikuta hiyo fight wakati ilikuwa intense, ili turn out ikakuwa ya Wakikuyu na Wakale. So the other guys wakasema, nyinyi sisi we are not involved in this. So ilibidi hiyo stuff hata ienda haraka. Juu ukiangalia country kama Rwanda yenye wako na hiyo ethnicity ya only I think around 2 tribes, kucollapse is so easy juu hii side wakite comes against this side it's over. But Kenya is so different juu the moment hawa wase wamekuja kupiga hawa wase, hey, tunawaambia sisi we are not involved, no. So your conflict inakuwa solved very fast. So but I think the problem ni imetekiwa tu advantage na these minority guys. Na the moment we talk about this, tuna realize actually our problem see really ethnicity. You know, ni these guys wame take advantage of our belonging na our na tribal culture ku try to divide you. Actually, look at our constitution. Counties ukienda Nyandaro huko ni Wakikuyu.
Hey, can you hear him?
I've actually lost him. I thought I've lost him on my end. Shocks.
Shocks zimeisha.
Yeah, shocks ni kama tumekupoteza. We've lost. Binti unamsikia?
Nope, no, I can't.
Wait, stop. Okay, I think tulikuwa tumekupoteza. Malizia sasa before hizo shocks zingine ziishe.
Niliwaachilia wapi? Nilikuwa exactly wapi on your side?
Nyandarua.
I was talking about counties. Tulipotelezenia hapo.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, that's why nasema like ukiangalia even our counties, there is no really tribalism hapo hivyo. It's just some people wameko hapo wanatuibia each and every night na ni the minority, you know. So I think if we really tukiendelea ku talk about this, the foundation ishaleiwa, tuendelee kuexposiana, you know. The guy from Western anakama anaongea, the guy mi kwetu ni Nyandaro. The guy from Nyandaro anakama anaongea, tunapata we are on the same page. I don't think really tribalism is really our issue. Ni opportunists wame take over the ethnicity na our sense of belonging. So, but the moment we talk about this, I think tutaweza ku move forward and take our country back. What we are facing is the same economical problem. Actually, ukiangalia mse wa Ocha wa Nyandaro na mse wa Ocha wa Migori wana face the same problems, you know. Ukiangalia mse wa town mse wa town wa East Lalo na wa Thika Road na wanini wana the same problem. So it's all about tukiongea about this, I think tutaweza kuliberate na to kick out this minority wenye wajaribu kutu divide through our most important aspect of our culture, which is sense of belonging. Kona hiyo.
Asante sana. Asante sana Shocks. So tunaendelea, and by the way, you know, I was just thinking, unajua saa zingine mkimake your submissions some random thoughts just zinanigonga tu, and I'm like by the way, hizi hata political appointments zikimekiwa na maybe from your community mpewe kama 2 ama 3, then another marginalized community ipewe 0. Have you ever complained useme hapana, mbona si umetupatia mingi na wengine hujawapatia? Or you just feel comfortable because ni ya mtu wetu amepewa? Hiyo ni ukabila ama? Come to think about it, but anyway. Situendelee. Mweru, how are you?
Hi. Yeah, thanks for the mic. Where is Real Joe? Real Joe, happy birthday. Me and you, we share a birthday. And happy birthday to you, my birthday mate.
Wait, where?
So anyway, thank you so much for hosting this space. My approach is sort of different. I'm trying to respond to the subject here, which says tribalism in Kenya, identity or political weakness. I grew up in Kenya. So it's going to be a sort of a different perspective because I've lived in 2 different worlds. I grew up in Kenya, and my point is simple. I grew up in Kenya. I grew up in Kikuyu land, and as a kid, I mean, tribes is something you read in school. I did not have anybody from a different tribe around me. I grew up in Kikuyu land, 100% Kikuyu land. You go to nursery school, Kikuyus from your village. You go to primary school, Kikuyus from your village. Until I went to high school, that's when I experienced people from other tribes. And I was like, wow, yeah, Kambas, Luos, all these people actually exist, because for me at the time, they only existed in the book. But to my grandmother, it was a whole different scenario. So I already was raised to have how do I say this? I had narratives about people from other tribes. I had stereotypes about people from other tribes. But then the one thing they don't tell you is what other people think about you. So in high school is where I experienced people from other tribes, and we all got along, we clicked, blah, 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 blah. So we were done with high school. 2005, we had one of the other referendums, the constitutional referendums. So I had my friends, and we decided, you know what? We're going to take up this responsibility and go around and read the Constitution for people who are illiterate, that could not read. And because we were friends who were from different tribes, we were like, you know what? We can read it to them, no matter who you are, from whatever tribe you are, because we're a group of us who represent different languages. Oh boy, did we have no idea what tribalism was. I mean, you know what I mean? So we sat with my grandmother. So I brought my friends. And, I don't know. And Lynn, please don't spank me. It all has to turn up to a story, because, the only way I can explain tribes and perceive and process tribes and tribalism in Kenya is through my own personal experience. And I remember we were trying to exercise a very genuine, innocent process of going around reading the Constitution to people. But my grandmother saw from the window, me and my group of friends coming to her house. And she waited for us at the gate, and she pulled me on the side. And the first thing she said to me was in Kikuyu, but I have to translate it in Swahili, but I can say it in Kikuyu. And she's like, and, it struck me. It struck me, and it hit me so hard. And this is back in the day in 2005. Because if you grew up in Kikuyu land, and then your next encounter of people from other tribes was high school, you don't really have an understanding of tribalism. And that's why, to me, I believe some of these things are taught and learned, and we're conditioned to believe that they actually, you learn them. They're passed on to you. And from that day, I had to question, what is wrong with my friends? We've been cool, we've been good, we're on a genuine mission, but my grandmother was very resistant to it. She's like, no. And we kept experiencing this everywhere we went. Oh, once it's my friend who is this tribe, then the next thing is me, you're bringing a Kikuyu to my house. And it stayed with me for a very, very, very long time. And fast forward, you live in another country. Then I came to the US, and this is where I started understanding that tribalism is an African pass-on privilege. This is an African privilege that we have, because in certain countries, certain cultures, tribalism, honestly, it manifests in several other ways. And then I came to the US, and all of us Africans are categorized as Black people. And I have never been offended my whole life until the day I had to subscribe to the fact that I am Black or African American. And you find yourself questioning, what is so important about me being Kikuyu? So I agree with a lot of things that Lynn said. I do. Because now, to the rest of the world, I am an African. First of all, I'm a Black person, then I'm an African, and then I can zero it down to a Kenyan, I can zero it down to a Kikuyu, I can even zero it down to a clan. So there's beauty in knowing where I'm from, there's beauty in knowing my tribe, there's beauty in having a tribal name. I have nieces who are here who don't want anything to do with that because of the fact that now with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're very sensitive to being affiliated with anything that might be a source of bias to other people, anything of that nature, which is another whole different ball game. But for me, there's beauty. There's beauty in being Kikuyu. There's beauty in you being Luya. There's beauty in us being from somewhere. And part of the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is because there's nothing wrong with knowing your tribe and knowing where you're from. Case in point, I can present. I have lived amongst African Americans, people from the Caribbean. They have this void in them because they don't know where they're from and they don't know their source and all these sorts of things. And that's why when we talk about white privilege, we have to also understand as Africans, we have African privilege and tribalism and tribes and all this and knowing your identity and where you're from and all this is a privilege. Not everybody has it. So I'll give an example of a doctor I worked with, this Black woman, extremely intelligent. She was a very well-renowned doctor here in the United States. And she was from Michigan. She was a Black girl from Michigan. And she has always identified as African until the day she decided to take the ancestral DNA. And it showed, the first ancestral DNA she took showed that she was from freaking Spain. And so initially, you know, if you work in the medical field, you think, oh, yeah. You know what? Bad sample. Let me redo it again. So she redid her test again. It reiterated Spain. So she was like, oh, fuck this shit. I'm sorry. I apologize for casting. And she had her brother take the test. And it so happened their family, they're extremely intelligent. So they were both doctors and physicians here in the United States. And their lineage came from a whole group of slaves. Their family lineage, I mean, they're typical Black Americans who were heritages, slaves who came from Africa. And her brother took the test, same shit. It said Spain. So she was very heartbroken because her whole lifetime she identified as a Black woman from Africa. So as a joke, her brother bought them a ticket to go to Spain to go visit the motherland. And if you're from the diaspora, you understand how saying the motherland to African American, it means a lot to them. But my point is what I'm trying to reiterate here. The issue is not having a tribe. The issue is not speaking a tribal language. The issue is not you identifying as Kikuyu. The issue is when it becomes toxic and you think that you're better than everybody around you. You think you're entitled to more privilege than people around you. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. That's my point. We are all human beings. And the one thing I would say about the Gen Z movement I like is the fact that you identify as tribeless, because we are the human tribe. We don't need to use me being Kikuyu, that the fact that I'm only 2%, or according to the census, that we feel like we're the majority. You're not the majority. And so I think from having experience, having lived outside Africa in general, and seeing how other subsects of people have existed around me, and honestly, in a country like in the U.S., you're considered minorities, so we have our tribes. We're basically like tribes. We are Africans. And then the Africans were divided into Nigerians and all this, and then you find you living next to people who are Filipino, who are Chinese, who are all this. And you see how well we live together. Like, I cannot oppress somebody because they're from here or you're from there. It doesn't matter. There's some beauty to that element. And it's the same thing in my own country. There's beauty knowing that when I come to Kenya, I hang out with the Maasais. There's beauty in that. There's beauty in knowing our history. There's beauty in knowing that from my own name, I can deduce to where my tribe came from. I don't need to take a test, a genetic test to tell me my origin. There's beauty in that. That is not the issue. And I agree with what KOT said. The issue is when you decide that that is a reason to suppress or marginalize other people. That is when we have issues here. So I don't honestly, what am I trying to say? I agree with a lot of what the speakers are saying here. We're beyond that perception or that perspective, that era of my grandmother, where the fact that she can even tell from a distance that you're from a certain tribe. We're beyond that shit. And I believe that is not where we are right now. And I do agree with what people are saying here. Personally, as much as you deal with racism, I experienced tribalism the other day. I mean, I was happy to run into somebody who I was surprised was a Kenyan, and I was very, very excited to talk to them. And then he just looked at me and he asked me where I'm from, and I said where I'm from, and he looked at me and he pointed a finger at me and he's like, "You are the people that voted for Ruto." And he walked away, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what are you talking about? I have not even voted in Kenya my whole life." And he walked away. He's like, "I'm Kisii. Your people are the reasons why our kids are in the streets being killed." He was an older gentleman, like Gen X. And I was dumbfounded. I was like, dude, you... Anyway, so let's understand that there's nothing unique about us just because we're Kenyans. There's nothing unique about us in the sense that tribalism exists everywhere. Right now, as we're speaking, I'm going through Hawaii and trying to understand the tribes here, because even in America, you have to understand that there were tribes that lived here that were basically pushed into reservations. And if you ever have a chance, or if you already live here, take your time to go and see where these people live. And you understand and you appreciate when we talk about the struggle for independence and the sacrifice that our forefathers actually did, you understand it, because in Kenya, we are now living in reservations. And if we are not keen, and that is why per se I respect Gen Z and what you're doing, because you're fighting for our heritage. You're fighting for a sovereignty that people are willing to sell off. I do affiliate with that, and I relate with that 100%. Because when you come to America and you visit the real tribes that were actually from here, the native tribes, and you see them in reservations, that could have been us. Anyway, that is a subject for another day. But my point is simple. When we talk about identity and political weakness, identity is key. Political weakness is just a manifestation or a sign and symptom of something that is wrong with you as an individual. If you feel like you have to vote for somebody because they are from your tribe, that is you who has an issue. There's nothing wrong with me being Kikuyu. There's nothing wrong with you being from wherever you're from, or whatever tribe you're from. My point is, the issue is if you feel like, yes, I'm Kikuyu, I have to vote for Kikuyu. And I have family members like that. And I'm trying really hard to break that curse, because in my honest opinion, it is a freaking curse. It is a curse. The fact that I have family members that have voted for people because they are Kikuyus. And that is why there's a space I listen to where they say that we need to stop blaming voters. No, people need to be held to account. If you have voted because you're a tribalist and voted for Kikuyu because you're Kikuyu, not because you think they're possibly good leader, no. I'll call you out and I'll hold you accountable for it. So anyway, let's proceed. Thank you for the mic.
Thank you very much, Maru, and happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Joe, again. And I also heard that it's Mora's birthday. So you have 3 birthdays on Twitter that we know of. But you're very right, by the way. Like we've all been saying so far, tribes are fine. It's just what you do with once you find your identity within that tribe. So I would like to go to where was it gone? Oh, Juza Niku Juza. You're next. Hi.
Hi. Thank you very much. Very interesting discussion. And my 2 cents are this. I think, number one, we should separate ignorance and tribalism. Some people are ignorant about where we are from, what we do differently from different regions and different tribes, but they're not really tribal. They just don't know. They're not they do not intend to discriminate. They just don't know us, and they don't know what we do and our different practices. I think that's one thing, because we might attribute malice or hatred or discrimination to someone where they just don't know, and they live their life in that ignorance. I'm not saying it's good to be ignorant, but that is a situation that happens a lot, because like very many people have said they've met with people and heard something about their tribe that is negative. And for me, most of the time, it's been ignorant rather than tribal, in that when they know, then they seek to understand more, at least in some cases. Secondly, for me, I think two solutions I would urge. One is that when we go to different places, let's seek to understand, let's seek to be there with the original people there, seek to understand them and value and appreciate their practices. It's not, for example, normally, even if, let's say, for example, you go and visit the coast, nowadays you find it very easy for a person. I'm in Nairobi, I visit the coast, I stay in town, I stay in Mtwapa, or whatever it is, take Ubers, go to the hotel, go to Dunda, come back to Nairobi. I've learned nothing about the coast. I've not interacted with people from the coast. Therefore, the isolation of the different tribal units continues, as opposed to going there seeking to learn what these different people are doing, see if wearing their dress code as they wear it is fine, eat what they eat, drink what they drink, appreciate their different practices, and learn from them as well. Such that instead of being isolated as to what different people are doing, and just because negative news will spread like wildfire. Negative news will spread like wildfire. For example, if you go to Malindi town has very many people who are not from Malindi. So it's very easy to go to Malindi and meet a fellow Kikuyu. Very easy. So you might go, interact with a fellow Kikuyu, never, buy from their shop, then do whatever you're doing, come back to Nairobi. You've not really been to Malindi, really, if you live like that. So if we travel to different places, let's also, I think, find ways to appreciate what they do and how they live. Because from personal experience, I know it's very easy to be judged on appearance when you go to some place, but it's because they live a certain way, and they're insulated from what happens outside that region. For example, you can hear something about when Wakamba wanakuanga hivi, uko like, no, I'm not Kamba, but I would ningependa kujua venye mnaishi hapa nini, what is it you're doing, why is it you think that Kambas are that way, no, hawakuangi hivi, by seeking to understand them. Second, for me, I think a second solution is to remove the hate speech laws. I know this is a bit sensitive, but hate speech laws don't help anyone. They don't help anyone, really. They just block important conversations, even on public platforms. For me, I would rather hear someone say something bad than them carry that attitude and they never get to know it. So I think they say sunlight is the best disinfectant. All ideas and attitudes, I think, should be open for discussion. We should know where these attitudes are coming from, who is genuine, who is not, who is seeking to learn, who is ignorant, who is hateful, and who is not. But if we decide that huyu akisema hivi, they should be sanctioned by this institution so that we never get to hear that thing again, then we never get to know good or bad people, because then people will just hide. They'll just hide behind it. They'll just hide behind it and continue doing whatever it is they're doing. Right now, we don't know the hateful people in government. We don't know, because they will never say it because of the hate speech thing. And that, for me, is a bigger problem than if they actually said, mina chukianga Wameru. Them being hateful being hateful, for example, in silence, but then being given power to actually do damage is a bigger problem for me. So for me, the two solutions is let's appreciate cultures locally, and of course, for me is and free speech, true free speech. Let people speak openly about whatever it is they believe, whether rightfully or wrongfully, so that conversations can continue from there. Because I believe good ideas always win. Good ideas always win. That's what I believe. But if we sanction ideas, then we never know what are the good ideas and what are the bad ideas. So yeah, that's a short one from me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. That's a short one from you indeed. Asante sana Juza Nikujuze. Tunaendelea, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sauti ya Mwananchi. We've been here for only God knows since when. Asubuhi sana. It's 24 minutes to 1 p.m. We are supposed to finish at 1 p.m. We'll see about that. So tunaendelea. And again, this conversation, it's not supposed to just end here. We can even do another space for it because we know it's bigger, much bigger than we even think. So maybe we'll do another space and not just one, maybe even 2 or 3 more, so that we talk about these things. Because the amount of requests we've had today, I've seen new faces coming to the mic, unless ni venye mimi ndio sijakuwa here for maybe like the past 1 week, but I've really seen new requests, new speakers that I've not interacted with lately. So tunaendelea. We want to give Buka first, then we'll go through the comment section, our Tongo comment section. Msifikirie tumewasahau. We are really going through your comments. So we'll go through some of them after Buka. Buka, jambo.
Mzuri, habari yako?
Mzuri sana.
Thank you for the mic, and also I appreciate that such a topic is being discussed at this time. Remember, the movement in the street came up clearly to address the problem of tribalism by declaring themselves that they are tribalists. So probably our interpretation was basically, it's not that we are going to abandon our respective, tribal organizations. But I think the movement generally rejected tribe as a tool for political mobilization, and also tribe used to divide the people. So this debate, you can put it in even a bigger context, which is politics of identity politics and sociocentric politics. Remember, the system is so skewed in a sense that it has to be imposed upon the people through lies, deceptions, and crude force. So the ruling class or the oppressor will not be as powerful if they don't have tools to divide the majority of the people, because as long as the people are united, it challenges the hegemonic tendencies of the rich, corrupt political class. So these people are in sync ideologically, that they must appeal to the majority, they must appeal to emotions of the majority through driving believable lies. And they have to anchor those lies on certain things. So maybe quite quickly, I could say that just as racism is a crime, tribalism is a crime that we must not only punish, but we must fight and defeat. In the essence that it actually takes us away from the systemic structural inequality that actually exists, that in the Kenya we live in today, the system is rigged so badly that we get some of the worst people in the most powerful positions. And it's basically negative ethnicity and tribal mobilization supported by dirty money to set one nation against the other. So we must only look at tribe as a weapon in the hands of the enemy to divide the majority of the Kenyan people, to continue to hate them, to steal from them. And even every time a rich, filthy politician scandalously caught in a corruption activity, look at Waiguru, look at anybody that has been caught up in corrupt activities, they go to appeal to their tribes. Well, we know that the proceeds of that corruption was not shared among that tribe. They use that dirty money to spin tribal sentiments, to make sure that the oppressed people in this country remain as divided. And the more we are divided, then we are going to be continued to be ruled by criminals. So this movement that is underway in the streets of Nairobi, calling itself not just tribeless, but it is a threat to actually the managers of the Kenyan state, that actually manages the Kenyan state not to benefit the Kenyan people, but they manage the Kenyan state in a very skewed way, only to benefit a few of them and some of their international backers. These people are threatened to the core because there is a new consciousness in the street that want to reject the tribal mobilization of the filthy, billionaire, corrupt class that continues to actually dictate and have even stolen our democracy. Because this democracy of tribal mobilization, this democracy of corruption, where the poor people are mobilized by use of money and tribal sentiments are driven. This is not the democracy that the Kenyan people fought and died for. So in actual sense, the system is so skewed that needs to divide people. And normally, the rulers of such an equal system, if they don't divide us tribally, they will divide us in a racial way, or even in issues of gender. So they will say this is a women issue, this is a children issue. They will divide us into. They always look for any weakest link within the masses to create division. They will even divide us based on religion. They will say these are Muslims, these are Christians, these are atheists. These are the criminals that continue. They want us to be as divided as possible. And when they do so, they're able to take political power based on their own interest as the minority in this country. So our duty is to reject the ongoing unity between the oppressing class. That is the newfound unity between the opposition and the government. This unity wants to drive us back to the old days of tribal mobilization, where people go to mobilize people ethnically to defend their own, interests. And let me just talk about the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin, because the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin community have been whipped in a sense that, for example, in Kikuyu community, the first president was Jomo Kenyatta. But if you look, Jomo Kenyatta grabbed so much land, and the Kikuyu community continued to suffer from landlessness and squatter problem. So my question is, how did Jomo Kenyatta's president benefit the majority of the Kikuyu people? In fact, Jomo Kenyatta's presidency only benefited a few Kikuyu looters. So if you want to join the Kikuyu community and tell them that since you have been having more presidents in this country, So it's not time for Kikuyus to lead. But the fact of the matter that the Kikuyus are not monolithic. They are rich, filthy, corrupt Kikuyus, and they are also poor Kikuyus. So the majority of the poor Kikuyus still are aching life out of poverty, while the minority of the Kikuyu communities that are rich, big landlords, and that have made money through, invoicing for work not done in government, are living in opulence. These are the people who want to say, don't touch Murima. But don't touch Murima for whose interest? Because I don't think Gachagua represents the interest of the Kikuyu community. In fact, I think Gachagua is the worst of the Kikuyu community and does not advance the interest of the majority of the Kikuyu people. But every time he says Murima cannot be touched, for whose interest? And even if you go to the Kalenjin community, I think the dictator Moi ruled us for 27 years. But if you go to Baringo and other parts of Kaleland, they are still struggling with basic needs. So the issue about tribalism, I think it is overhyped in the sense it does not play into the national product called Kenya, where we can develop our country together. And I think there's a new consciousness in the street where people see a sense of unity in raising the flag, raising the flag of the Kenyan national flag, because Kenyan nation is very young. So we have to continue to struggle to build our own Kenyan culture based on the majority of the Kenyan people. So tribalism, I think, is one thing that we must continue to fight tooth and nail and to remove it. And tribalism as a basis for division of the majority of the Kenyan people, to make sure that we have unpopular governments, undemocratic government, dictators that have actually rigged the system so badly that they continue to run the country every day. This was my small input, comrades, and I hope that we could continue to advance even the debate more deliberately. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Buka. Thank you for your submission. You're very right. Let's not allow ourselves to get, divided by these tribalistic efforts the government is trying to impose on us. So thank you very much, guys. This is Sauti ya Mwananchi, where every voice matters, hosted by Wanyama and co-hosted by myself and Kowino. We also have KOT, that's Mavi Mabonga in the building, and Ayo. And we also have our other co-host, Rabia. So right now we're going to enter the comments section because, like I said, all our voices matter. So we want to hear your voices too. Kowino, are you ready?
Yes, Binti, I'm here. I'm ready.
Sawa. So we have Wanjiro who's asking, mnataja Kiswahili mnataja Nyandarua ama Nyandarua sana kwa hii tribal thing. Tulifanya nini apart from farming viazi and cabbage? Wanjiro Misi, I can't answer you that one. Ask Mabonga, he's the one that was mentioning you.
I think Mabonga alimjibu. Yes, I'll go to another comment here by Wallace. He says, hate speech isn't tribalistic statements. It is speech that calls for violence, displacement, and murder of other tribes. Yes, that is from Wallace.
We also have Toria. Toria said, tribalism is the greatest enemy and a way of destruction being used by politicians to divide us. We should kill this thing for us to resume the unity we had.
Okay, I have Muhijaya at Hila James. He says Lynn has raised key issues, but I also digress on generational compartmentation. Sometimes you meet a tribal Gen Z and you feel sick. Tribalism cuts across generations.
100% agreed. And then we have Son here saying, tribalism is our biggest and greatest enemy, followed by Ruto, in brackets, Butcher of Sugoi.
I can see a comment here by Masculinity Men Together. I think he was here on the speaker, and I don't know if he's still here. He says, wanakula then wanamon badai. That I think that is when Lynn was saying, walienda uleani and they ate wanaomboleza badai. Yeah, but that mon masculinity bana. Your keyboard looks to have typed morning ingine mbaya kila saa mpaka when you want to type morning it doesn't type morning ya kuomboleza anymore. but ni sawa.
Oh God. Okay, so we have Siopo. Siopo is saying we have always led our elections based on I think that's meant to be regional, ethnic, which narrows down to a specific language. That is how we grow our tribal war, and that is true. We need to stop leading our elections based on tribal or ethnic manners.
Yeah, sio poa at Zinduka_station anasema it would not be possible to have a unifying language, but we can change the political policy.
Alafu thinks Wallace is here describing tribalism. This one you're asking what tribalism means, but they're telling us that tribalism is the intentional embracing and practicing of prejudice and hatred of other persons because they do not belong to your tribe. Ethnicity, race, faith, gender, social class, or any other superficial aspect. It is cultivated in people.
Okay. Who else? Now there's too much Wallace here, and there's also a Wallace on the speaker. So Jose K anasema niliacha na baba yangu nikiwa 6 years in 2007. Alifukuzwa juu yeye ni Mluya, ikabidi niishi na mama. Aki hii ukabila. That is so unfortunate. I'm sorry about that, Jose.
You're right. Wallace is a very dedicated commentator. We love it. She's just saying, blessed P254, that's Lynn. I think that is the best whipping I have ever heard unleashed. Yet, Ukabila has roots in all generations, including some Gen Zs.
Who else is here? Okay, let me check. Can't see anyone here. Is Wallace after Wallace. Wait, someone said it's a method of family planning. Tribalism.
No. That was a question that was happening earlier when Wanyama was introducing. He asked what the... Yeah, that was the first introduction Wanyama did on the space.
Wanyama, you Wanyama. Okay, there is Wallace here again. I'll read this one. Tribalism is the intentional embracing and practicing of prejudice and hatred of other persons because they do not belong to your tribe, ethnicity, race, faith, gender, social class, or any other superficial aspect. It is cultivated in people.
See, I just read that one. Ama, you weren't listening to me.
Hata ndio nimeona you just read that one.
Sorry, it's okay. We love the definitions. So yeah, guys, keep the comments coming in. We'll keep reading them as you go along. But for now, let's go to actually, Wallace, seeing as you've been commenting so much, so you just talk to us now, real life.
There's someone who said, Akidike, these chat GP submissions losers, please ongea na sisi hapa kwa ground. People don't want English. People don't want when you do it for long.
Forgive me for so many comments. I think it's because I'm listening to conversation, and as you go along, I respond to whoever is making a comment. But I really appreciate these spaces because we get views from everyone, Kenyans here, Kenyans in diaspora, different perspectives, and it's very important. And I think it becomes a very educative session. So, for example, I think Mweru made a very good point about being in the diaspora, being in the States. Tribe is good because you see people are very keen on their identity. Where did I come from? You will find in America that dimension of identity is very critical, but yet it is a strength. The power of the United States of America is because it's a melting pot of all different countries, peoples, ethnicities, races, faiths, atheists, everybody is there. But they have found and created a system where respecting each other is part of their constitution. Just like the way our constitution has that mutual respect dimension, where we celebrate all different cultures. So you'll find in America, as Mweru mentioned, people even do DNA tests just to try and confirm where did I come from. You'll find African Americans, it's very interesting to notice this, that while Africans want to be African Americans, African American youth are looking for any way to connect back to their African heritage. We want to be them, they want to be us. To the point where they look for names that they just look for any Swahili word, like Nia Long, if you know the actress, yeah? Karibu ajite something like Sahani. But the idea is they are looking for identity. They want to know, where did I come from? So tribe is very important. Tribe is very key because it's a point of strength, not a point of weakness. Until you deal now with white people who know that this thing can be used and can be weaponized for us to take advantage of the rest of the world. As Wanjiro mentioned, I believe, as she said, she's in Europe. I know she's somewhere in Italy. But the idea is you find Italians, French, Germans, Turks, all these different people, but they are one European Union who share a euro, which is very strong. They are the ones who are determining the price of our coffee. We're the ones planting it, or our tea, or anything that we make in Africa. They set the price. That is how they play us. They are the ones who drew the borders in Africa. They are the ones in 1885. They divided us in regions with the goal of extracting minerals and raw materials. Our countries were never set up to benefit Black people. They were set up to enrich Europe. And we do not realize that game never stopped. And when they give us independence, now these are those hard realities, they installed people they had groomed, they had set up as their home guards to continue to be in leadership, which is why we know even in Kenya, Mau Mau that supposedly fought were never appreciated. They died poor. But people who used to be home guards in the British government ended up being in government positions, beginning with Jomo's cabinet, okay? So the reality is we have never truly even been free from the West as Africa in total. There's still neocolonialism. There's still, we export raw materials, we import finished products. They are determined for that to remain as the status quo. And the biggest weapon they have is let these guys remain tribalistic. Let these guys remain separated as Africans, because that is how it's going to be to their advantage. And in Kenya, the political class, again, aren't we seeing Ruto playing ball with people like Bill Gates, all these IMF people? Until we know those are Westerners. We know these are globalists. We know they want to take advantage of our country. Why is he selling out all our assets? Why are they ready for this guy to bring in GMO? They want to control our food. You have seeds that yield only one crop. You have to buy the next batch of seeds, and these are controlled by globalists. Why are they willing to enslave our food? It's because they know it. If you divide people, if you keep people divided, you can manage them, you can control them, you can manipulate them, you can take advantage of them, whether they like it or not. So that is the reality. When they have realized Gen Zs are waking up, as people have noted, and started saying, no, we appreciate our tribes, but will not let it be the political driving agenda. It is a big threat to them, and they are desperately, and I mean desperately, trying to return Kenyans' mentalities back into Ukabila mindset, into Ukabila thinking. And that's why they'll play all this, like WWE wrestling. I've shared this before. It's a big play. When they, even now when they're saying we are impeaching Gachagua, it's part of the game to rise, to star in people of Murima tribalism, so that as people, some of them can start saying, hey, why are you trying to remove our guy? It's a big lie. We need not to fall for their tricks. These are not new tricks, they are old tricks. So the reality is this: if we continue, I've put a quote there by Mandela, if you can teach people to hate, you can remind people to appreciate the common humanity. That's why I like, by the way, dimensions from diasporans, Kenyans who go to the diaspora. Because here, while we're in Kenya, we are busy saying, Kikuyu, you are Luo, you are what, we hate each other on that basis. When you go abroad, you'll be shocked. Nobody cares about your Luoness, it's Kikuyuness, it's nothing there. It's not, you become black. To them, as far as they're concerned, they're looking at your skin. Stop thinking while you're here being proud from this area in Kenya that it means something out there in the big world. In the big world, it is meaningless. They see you are black and they hear your accent. Here you might sound like you're wanging to us, but to them you have an accent. So you realize that you go into a bigger level where now people are being racist. Now it's not tribalism. They hate you because you are black. They don't give you a chance. They don't care your degrees. They care you are black. And that is why you find when we're colonized, I'll be brief. Even small children who are white used to call our grandfathers, and they are big and uniform because they are servants. Come here, boy. Excuse me, hey, boy. They would call our fathers, our parents at that time, boys. That's what racism is in America, KKK, Ku Klux Klan, and all those kind of things. They do not see Africans as human beings. So identity is very important, that we realize all human beings are the same, whether some choose to insist that you're not a human or not. And when it comes to tribe, when the superiority complex is a lie, all human beings have the same capacity to be geniuses, to do anything great and to achieve anything great. So I believe the wonderful thing about this conversation is the education dimension. I have agreed that, okay, we need to be wary again of going from tribalism to ageism. At that point, I really agreed with a lot of what Lynn said. I really felt where she was coming from. I really felt that whipping of, it's like they don't know how to help us but the reality is we need to learn from history. They say those who don't learn from history are bound to repeat it. Let's learn from it, but let's not dwell in it, because we can make a future. And the only way to make the future is to sort of like let go of the past, learn from it quickly, then start making right decisions now that are not Ukabila based. And I have also been reminded something very important, because I tend to focus on Ukabila and election. It's true that it affects you, let's say when you go for a job application, when you go for, there are times it is all about the surname. There are people who don't have, there's one space where somebody made us feel sad. They said they had to name their kids 2 English names so that when they go for an interview, they are not discriminated. So I think they called their kid John something. They just mixed the names. Sorry for my alarms here. So that's, sorry, let me shut this down. There you go. So it's very sad that if you have to name your kid 2 English names, you've had to run away from your ethnicity to protect them from not being discriminated against when they go for a job. Or they go, because now let me show you how it works. Once you vote somebody in or people in tribally, they go into government positions, they have to be nepotistic because their tribes push them. It's the numbers of their tribes that have qualified them to be there. Now, when you have people who have been employed, let's say in passport, in immigration, who are coming from one community, they don't need to serve you to get paid. That is why when you go there, if you're not bribing them, you're not seeing your passport anytime soon. So tribalism ends up now becoming something that is ruining and soiling every social service in our country, because we made the mistake as voters. Tumeenda tumepiga kura based on ukabila, imeingia kwa government, imeingia kwa ministries, imeingia kwa CS. It trickles down into nepotism, into our social services, into how people are employed in government, into everything. It starts finishing us because it is too set. Because now that guy in a ministry, when you try and fire, who will you report him to? You are reporting him to people from their tribe. Just like the way right now, if you go to try and report, you saw Masengeli, he's been summoned by court, he can ignore it. He knows he's covered. The way the system works right now, you're covered. It doesn't matter who will report you where. So that is the thing we need to wake up to, that we cannot afford this thing anymore. It is the one that facilitates nepotism. People don't get jobs. It facilitates corruption. You go to touch somebody for stealing, they jump immediately, if you have ever noticed, immediately to their tribe. It is the ultimate shield. Don't touch our man, mtu wetu. That is the ultimate shield for impunity and corruption. It is the safest bet they can play. And that is why they don't want to lose that card. This tribeless movement is extremely dangerous and is like a death nail into their coffin. And that's why we have to push it through. Gen Z started it, but Gen Zote must finish this job. They can't do it alone. So the reality is, you realize when you go abroad, our tribes don't mean anything to them. We are just black. We are just Africans. We are just, I like that element that was brought up, that Wazungus considered themselves ethnicities, but when they came to colonize us, they were calling us tribe in a negative dimension. These natives, these savages, they used to call us savages. We don't wear clothes. We don't, that's the attitude they came at us with. They made us feel like everything we were, it was wrong. We are not wearing clothes. We are not speaking English. That's why they forced English names on us. Okay? But that is the reality we have, that this thing, we can kill it. The way people have learned to hate, we can restore and refire patriotism. I think somebody called it pluralism, which is the same. It's the same animal, where we now say, whereby tribalism makes you selfish for your tribe. Being a patriot makes you consider everybody as being equal and being equally worthy of opportunities, worthy of respect. I felt bad to realize some of us have even not had relationships or wives because of tribalism. And that's the reality. But we've also had a lot of intermarriages, and that's part of the way to go. In our old African cultures, after wars, the way we were told about Kikuyus and Kalenjin and Maasais, one of the ways to restore peace always was about intermarriage. You intermarry so that you become related, you become family. And that's something that, let it happen naturally, but it should not be a point at which people are failing to end up in good families because their elders and their fathers are blocking them from marrying the person they love or they're attracted to. So let me be brief. Okay, I'm never brief, but to that point, and maybe I can say some. I know we're about to close the session, but that's my point for now. This thing has ruined this country. It has become endemic beyond just election time. I think I always focus on election time because I see how it now trickles down. It becomes a president who is part of a tribe, ministries and CSs that are part of the tribes that supported him. Then it goes into nepotism, into parastatals, which now kills all our services. Our services begin to stink because those are people who don't have to work to be paid. They want to be bribed. They go there to steal. They go steal from KEMSA. They steal from everything that is set up because they are not there by merit. They are not there by merit. So, and as I said also, even that idea of rotating, just 1 minute, it doesn't, in Nigeria, it has not worked in the sense that meritocracy needs to have its place. Rotating, like now, for example, in Kenya, when we say we have an Olympic team, we don't insist that there has to be regional balance in our Olympic team. We don't insist on regional balance in our rugby sevens. If we have our Western guys from Western and Nyanza in our rugby team, if we're winning, we are all happy. If we have our Olympic team full of people from Kaleland, when we see guys winning, we see Rudisha, we see Kip. We don't care which Kip is winning. We care that a Kenyan is winning. That patriotism is what we should focus on building up and making sure everybody has been developed to be a servant leader. But that's a topic. If we'll continue this session, I can add at that time. But I want to end it at that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Wallace, for your sentiments. Always welcome. And yes, we will be having another space just because we can see that we still have many requests down there, but we'll be closing down soon. So we're just going to finish with this set of speakers, and then like I said, we'll have another space. So I'd like to go to Ndovu. Ndovu, you've been here for a while. You've been coming up and then dropping and then coming up, then dropping. So hi.
Hello. Hi. Sorry about that because I was at work and I'm still at work here, but I'm still listening to the conversation. And also my network connection is not very good. Keep going up and down. I'm very like interested by this conversation that we've been having. It's good to differentiate some things because some people are like mixing everything up. Because as I have listened, heard people say about tribe and tribalism. These are two different words. Because to be in a certain tribe is not wrong, but to be a tribalism is a bad thing. It's not good. So like if you are a Luo, Kikuyu, you are Luo, you are Kamba, this is not bad. But if you do something wrong because to another person because he's from another tribe, that become tribalism. Now that become wrong. So these are things that I'm getting, and also differentiating culture and tribalism, because culture is a different thing from being tribal. What we do, like our culture and our tradition, is very different from being a tribal. You can do your things and you're still not a tribalistic person. And also, like these things, it's not only in Kenya that we have tribes. We all know about the 12 tribes of Israel, don't we? Like these things have been there since, times immemorial. Like it's the way that the world was born. Like it was the way that God maybe put things to be. Maybe He had some reason for that, because you see, like we all have different tribes, and most of us are comfortable with our tribes, and this doesn't mean like we are tribalistic. So what we do with our tribe is towards other tribes, I think that one is become problematic. And also, even in Europe, you see, like someone talked about in Europe, there are people who have different tribes, and they even know about it, but they don't make it like too much of a thing. Like nobody will refuse you because you are from this tribe, you are from this ethnic group or something like this. All these things, they are there, but it's what we do with it. And then the big problem, I think, in our country is politicians. They bring this thing to the limelight. Like people say, I'm from this tribe, and all these people have to do what I'm saying. Like because I'm from this tribe, I'm pushing this agenda against another tribe. That is what is making things bad. So I think politics and tribe make it a bit hard and a bit different. Another thing is when you have some tribes, they are majority. There are too many. They are the majority in a country. You cannot say that because there are too many, they are tribalistic. That doesn't add up. Being too many, it doesn't mean like you're tribalistic. It's just you are too many, and that's how it is. There's nothing you can do about one tribe being too many. They just found like they are too many than others. So that doesn't make them more tribalistic than other tribes. And another thing is marriage and tribe. You see, like marriage, sometimes I'll think like it will be good if people will intermarriage, you do intermarrying. But again, when I think from my own perspective, I would like to marry someone who I can be able to communicate the language that I was taught by my mother, and I'm able to, I enjoy it. I enjoy talking, and I enjoy when we talk in this tribe. It won't be beneficial if I think like I cannot marry this person because of only tribe. Maybe you can speak Swahili or something other, or we can even teach other different language, and we talk. Like if I marry from Luo can teach me Luo, or I teach them whichever language. Where I come from, I find that in Kajiado there are too many Maasais intermarrying with the Kikuyu, and it's okay. I don't see any problem with that, and they are very happy. They live their lives very happily, and they go on with their lives. So I think it's high time that we bring this thing of hyping the tribe thing down. And I would like if we have some kind of things that we can bring, like culture festivals all around the country. Like we can go different places and do our thing and show our cultures and show our things, and then we kind of try to bring the hype down, because this is the thing that is making it too much problematic. Because also people affiliate with some other people on what they do. Like if I am a business person, I'll most be attracted to another business person so that we can maybe help each other on what we are doing in our business. If I'm a fisherman, I would like to more interested by another fisherman. Like these are things that push people to some groups, which is I don't think is very bad. Another thing I was listening to, and it was very interesting, is about the Gen Z and the other older generations about tribe. You see, as old as you become, you find that you much kind of affiliated to a tribe. You much, as old as you go. These are things that we are trying now to bring them down. It's not wrong that maybe millennials are too much to tribal things, but these are things that we're trying to bring them down. Instead of talking against them, we have to try and bring them down and help them, because as you can realize, many older people will be more tribalistic actually than the younger generation, which is very it's okay, but these are things that we need to bring them down slowly by slowly. And I think this the good time that we are doing all these things at the moment. Maybe in some years we'll have a country that people can speak different languages, but they can come together and talk together and do things together in the right way. That was my submission for today. I'm very happy about these conversations. Thank you very much, Omnyama, and all the co-hosts and all those people who are hosting spaces. We always are there to listen and to maybe to share our thoughts. It's not like we know what to, or like we are just talking from layman people, like layman minds. It's not like we are being trained, but that's what I think myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As we carry on, this is Hati Mwananchi, hosted by your very own Wanyama. Thank you. By Wanyama, hosted by myself, Koino, KOT, and Ayo is also part of the team, and Rabia. So always welcome. We want to hear your voices. I'd like to go to a lady next. Farouk, I can see that your hand is up. I'll go to a lady. So Maggie, hi. I'll come to you afterwards, Farouk.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Wanyama. Thank you, Kawino, and thank you, Binti and all. So mine's gonna be just a quick one. I just wanted to share. I've been listening to the space for a while now, just as a silent listener. But recently, I've just been really urged to just speak. So I've been in the UK for 24 years now, but I do travel back and forth to Kenya. I was just I do concur a lot with what was said earlier, and especially with Mweru when she was speaking about her experience in the US. Irish, you got the English, and you got the Scottish. So I'd kind of sort of link that to that what tribe is. Listen, please. I'm sorry, guys. Just 1 second.
Okay, no problem. In the meantime, let's go to Farouk. Farouk, hi.
Hi, everybody, can hear me? Bluetooth mode. Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thanks so much for the opportunity. Wanyama, Koino, Binti, and the listeners. I want to talk about leader for tribalism, and I want to make some few statements. I can talk about tribalism. Tribalism, government uses.
Farouk, we cannot.
Hello.
We can't. You sound like a robot. If you just fix your internet for a second and then come back. Maggie, I don't know if you're ready.
You can't hear me.
We can hear you, but your net is not.
Farouk, there's too much feedback from your background.
So in the meantime, I don't know, Maggie, if you're ready. If not, we'll go to.
I am.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, but just I do apologize. I've got my daughter in the room, so anytime she might be a bit of trouble. But so I don't know. For people like me, myself, I'll speak for myself. Like I feel a bit of a sellout because with all these things that's happened, like the protest and everything, the Gen Z and all this civic education, I feel like a sellout because I'd love to be on ground and I'd love to do what because there's a feeling and there's an agony in me because I feel I'm here in the UK. I've tasted what it is to live in a first world country, and I'm like, we are in the 24th century now, and Kenya is lacking in so many things. And when all these things came into revelation about the money that's being looted by all these politicians, it gave me like such a burning feeling in me, like why like all these years we could have been so far, and with all these things that are happening, and you just feel like I just feel for me like being over here where I am, of course my circumstances and everything, I'm not able to be on the ground like I would love to be, but I really do salute people like you guys who are able to be there on the ground and actually speak and like do something to make our country better again. But I'm not gonna go, of course. I'm just going the issue about race. Like race is important because race identifies us. It's the same by tribe. Tribe is our identity. Like whenever you meet somebody, okay, it's just to have an understanding of who they are. It's not just because you're. But I think the problem is because from years back, the issue of tribe and has been used. If you think about before even the colonization and everything, you'd have Kikuyus who had their own chiefs, they had their own people, It'd go in the coast, like I'm from Taita, you have the Taitas who have their own clans and they had their own processes and their own ways of governance. And then the colonization came, and I thought all this was like I think somebody mentioned it in the sense that colonial powers, they did come, but also with the idea of divide and control. So with us knowing that, okay, sisi ni Wataita, sisi ni Waanini, we are all one as one Africans. We never had that sort of mentality when in Kikuyu, but I cannot mingle with you because I'm a Taita. We never had that, but that was created at that time during the colonial, in the sense of trying to merge all of us together. But if you, I don't know, it's quite deep when you sort of try and have an understanding of it. But it was, so now colonialism has come, and we have to like sort of merge what we used to do traditionally and then what we have to do like now in this democracy, the modern day democracy and everything. And I feel like that's where like the problems start. And also I know, like I do have a feeling, somebody mentioned it, that these colonial powers, they did understand that if they divided us in the sense of our tribes, that they'll be able to control us, and they'll be able to so take more advantage in that sense. So I do feel this issue of tribalism. I think also the gentleman before me mentioned that the tribe in itself is not bad, as I was saying. But when you add the ism part of it, that it becomes an ideology, and the ideology can either become a negative ideology or a positive ideology. So I do. So for me, like I feel like now also with the tribes, is it the issue of tribalism in Kenya right now is being used as a sort of a weapon, in the sense, a weapon for the leaders who are weak. They are weak in the sense that they know that they can't get a majority of the votes out of their own sort of integrity, out of their own sort of like knowing that, okay, you're in power because this and this is what you bring. But now it's because they are weak in knowing, like they know that whatever they are bringing into power is quite weak. So they are going to use that tribal card. Previous generations are sort of have been